Hi everybody and welcome to your art class. It's great to be back. I'm really excited to make some art today. Got a cool project planned. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. So I hope you have your paper and pencil or whatever you have at home ready. You know, you can use whatever paper you can find. You can use any crayons or markers or pencils. Whatever you've got is just fine. We are going to start today off with a little video to get some inspiration. All right, inspiration means, you know, you see something and it gives you ideas or it makes you want to make something kind of like that. All right, so we're going to watch a video of somebody drawing a city. All right, because we're going to draw a city today. We're going to use some shapes and we're going to draw a city. It's going to be really cool. So check this out. There we go. Think about the shapes or lines that you're seeing, because they're starting out with basic shapes. Even if they're making up new shapes, even if it's shapes you haven't seen before, they're all made of shapes. So think about those shapes that they're starting the building with. They've got lots of interesting shapes for the beginning. A lot of rectangle kind of shapes, like these long shapes, like this here is a long rectangle shape. But look at this one. This one's almost like a rectangle, but it's almost like they're stacked on top of each other, almost like blocks. You see that shape? That's interesting. They used that shape up here too, on the very top there. Look at these ones. Ooh, getting interesting with these little spiky triangle shapes on top. It's kind of like you're building with blocks. And look, this is like little stairs almost, it looks like. So it's like a rectangle, but the top has this little rectangle on top and some stairs. Oh, look, this one's got a little sign on top. So we're seeing how they can use all different kinds of shapes to make these buildings. Ooh, look at that one. How this one has a pointy little triangle on top and a line coming out like a little antenna for a building. It's fun. Just realized the music for this video is pretty loud. Sorry about that. Oh, and now they're starting to do some coloring and shading on the buildings. And once again, when we make a drawing, it doesn't have to look just like this one. We're just getting inspiration. We're just looking at this and getting some cool ideas or thinking, oh, I wonder how I would do something like that. You don't have to do it just the way that this artist did it. See how they're using lots of lines? So today's focus is a lot of lines and a lot of shapes. Lines and shapes. That's a big part of drawing. They're using those lines to look like it has lots of windows. Right? They don't have to draw every single window, but they can add lots of those lines together and it looks like it has windows. It's a really neat trick. Lots of different ways to draw the windows using lines. Different colors they're using. good activity to practice with your shapes and with your lines. Ooh. Like this one here, it's like they drew the lines and then they drew a little line inside each one. Oh, this one looks nice too. Over here. I was talking about this one here and then this one. Very good. And a few little extra details here and there. Color the sky a little bit. And that's a nice looking city, if I do say so myself. Looks pretty good. So hopefully we can get some ideas, and hopefully now you're inspired, which means you are excited to go and make your own city, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to aim my camera down here, and you can see my paper, and we can draw together, all right? So you go ahead and get your drawing stuff ready, and I'll get this all set up. There we go. Let's just fix my camera a little bit. It's always a little tricky to get the camera just right. There we go. Okie dokie. So I've got my paper here, and I've got a nice box of crayons, but you don't need to have any kind of fancy art supplies. You don't even need colors for this if you don't have them. Excuse me. You just use what you got, okay? And that's good enough. So, the way that we start this project is by drawing shapes, right? And I'll start with some basic shapes that we might see in a city skyline. They call this a skyline, okay? Skyline means like that view that we saw where you can kind of see all the buildings together. And you don't want to make them too big. I know our buildings are really big, but if you draw a building so big that it takes up all the page, where are you going to fit all the other buildings, right? So make sure there's room for them to fit lots of buildings, because we're drawing lots of buildings today. So let's start with just a tall rectangle. Mine's going to go like up to the middle of the page, and it's not too wide. It's pretty, it's pretty short going this way. And then it comes down like that. That's a good shape to start with a building, okay? And let's try something else. How about for the next one, I'll make... This one will be a little shorter, maybe a little wider than the other one, because each building's different. And then this one, I'll do something like this. Watch this shape. I'm going to put a smaller rectangle on top, and then a smaller one on top. Look at that. That's a fun shape for a building, right? Let's try some more. How about this one? This one's gonna go up like a rectangle would, but instead of going this way, watch this. I'm gonna go up diagonally like that. And then I'm gonna bring that one down. See that? So, you don't have to draw these exact buildings. You can make up your own buildings too. So just kind of fill that space with different shapes and different buildings and see what you can come up with. Maybe you come up with a funny shaped building, I don't know. I like to do this one that has almost like stairs like that. It's kind of fun. There's lots of different things you could do. You could do one that's round on top. That's fun too. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep coming up with some different buildings. Oops, I broke a crayon. I always do that. I press too hard with my crayons. Guess that means I should switch to a different color. This shape, and then maybe I'll add like a triangle on top of that one. That's fun. Yeah, you can add shapes to them. Like say just add a rectangle on top of a building. I could add like a little triangle here. Right? I could add like something like this on this building. Almost like a little hat. But yeah, buildings usually have some things on top that give them an interesting kind of shape, right? So that's fun. I've got a good amount of buildings going on here. So after you've drawn the shapes for your buildings, we're gonna draw some lines on there just like we saw in this other picture. So let me open up that other picture that we saw, because that's actually a really cool example. So I'm gonna put that up here, all right? So we can see all different ways that they used the lines. The first way I'm gonna try is just basic lines that just go down like this. Just going down, top to bottom, and draw them pretty close together. We're not scribbling, remember, we're drawing each line. Make them as close together as you can so that it looks like lots and lots of little windows on there. See that? That's one way to do it. That's pretty cool. I like it. Now maybe I'll draw one. I'll try a different color. This one, I'm going to do that same kind of thing. I'm going to start the same way. Drawing my lines down. But watch what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to draw lines the other way too. Same kind of thing, but I'm drawing them going the other way. See that? So instead of drawing all those teeny tiny squares, I just draw the lines like this. It kind of makes them for me. Isn't that nice? I think I'm going to go back to this one and watch what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to add a couple of lines going this way, like 2 there. Then I'm going to go down a little bit. Add 2 here, go down a little bit, add 2 here. See that? That's nice. It looks a little different. It's cool that they all look different. And I can even use lines to decorate these top parts. Maybe here I'll have up and down lines, vertical lines, and here I'll have sideways lines, horizontal lines. See that? And then maybe I'll do something different up on this one. Maybe this one. Oh look, diagonal lines. You see those? Diagonal. That means they're going this way, not up and down or left and right. They're going diagonal. Let's try some diagonal lines on a building, shall we? How about this one? I'm going to draw diagonal lines. That means they're going like this. You see that? I wonder where this one's going to go. Okay, we got some diagonal lines there. And maybe I'll do the same thing, go in the other direction. There we go. Some diagonal lines. This is good practice using your lines like this. Because it's not just buildings that you can use these kind of lines. You can use them for anything. You could do the side of a tree like this. You could do animal fur with little lines like that. Maybe this could be like fish scales, right? This could be a picnic blanket or a shirt. Look how my shirt has these little squares. You could draw a shirt like that. So these are all skills that you can use for other types of art as well. Maybe I'll get some green. This one, I'm gonna do some curved lines. You see that? They're like rainbows. These lines are like rainbows. They go up and down. I'm doing that same line all the way. That's going to give it a really interesting look. Look at those. That's an interesting building. And then maybe I'll even do some lines going down, top to bottom like this. Ooh, that looks neat. That building looks round. Looks really cool. Okay. Lots of different colors. What's some orange, huh? And I could even use some shapes inside the building, like maybe I want a big window here. Maybe I want a big window here. And this one has lines inside of it. You see that? And then maybe I've got 2 long rectangle shapes here, right? So you can put shapes inside your building too. And fill those up with lines. Very nice. I like it. Maybe a big one down here. Sometimes I just draw a couple lines like this to make it look like shiny glass. Okay? And we'll put some lines going like this and like that. Oh, and you know what else buildings sometimes have? Sometimes they'll have an antenna. So antenna are like these long things on top. Sometimes they'll have two. And these like help them communicate. They can pick up, you know, radio signals or different things like that. Maybe they'll have one big antenna like this. There's all different kinds. Yeah. And not all of the buildings have it, but some of them do. And we got one more here. I'm going to use this darker kind of green. I'm going to look at my example and pick one from the example. Let's see. Something I haven't tried. Oh, this is an interesting one. It's got two lines here. And then some lines here like this. And over here it's got its own little lines on the other side. Interesting. That's fun. And I'll add some other things. I'll add a line here and here. Okay, neat. Up here, I'll just do horizontal lines. Maybe this one will have some triangle lines to follow that. Those are some nice looking buildings. I like it. I like it a lot. And at this point, if you have already finished all your buildings, there's a couple different things you can do. One thing you can do, like I'm doing here, is color in the buildings. Okay, even though you already put lines on there, you can still color it. Like watch how I take this orange, and even though this has the red lines, I can still, if I color lightly, I can color behind those lines, and you can still see the red lines. Okay? Use like a lighter color, you can still see those lines, so you can color your buildings. Another thing you can do, you can add things. Maybe there's cars down here or people. Maybe there's airplanes in the sky, clouds, all different things, right? So this is the part where you can get really imaginative. Maybe, look, this one has a little sign. You see that sign? You can add some signs and billboards for your favorite foods or your favorite TV show or something. So now we're just getting really imaginative and adding all kinds of fun details into your city, all right? So at this point, I'm going to turn my microphone off, and I'm just going to work on my city for a while. So you can be working on yours, and we'll be working together. And I'll check back in with you when class is almost over. All right, have fun. And this is time to get creative. Time to do your own thing. Let's go. right, everybody. Well, that's just about all the time we have. We've got a few more minutes left, but I just wanted to go over kind of what I did here. And hopefully I can see what you made. You can send your pictures to me if you want. You don't have to, but you definitely can. You can send them to my email address, which is on the Distance Learning webpage. And yeah, I love to see your artwork. It's always good to see my students' art. Especially when, I miss you all and I can't see you. So I miss seeing your art, and it's good to see. So send it on over if you feel like it. But let's take a look at what I made here. I added an airplane, and you can see everything I made here I used shapes. The airplane is almost like what I'd call a hot dog shape. And it's got 2 triangle wings and a little triangle for the fin, right? I made a hot air balloon, which is almost like an oval shape, but it gets smaller on the bottom. And the basket's like a little square and a little person in there. I made 2 signs, one for my Riverside folks, one for my Churchill folks. We got an otter sign and a husky sign. And then I thought it'd be fun to add lots of birds, because when I'm in Rochester, you know what's interesting? We have a lot of these, I think they're crows. Either crows or blackbirds. But a lot of these black birds in Rochester that all fly around together. And sometimes you'll just go onto a block and you'll just see them all hanging out together. And it's kind of interesting. So I thought it would be fun to draw all those birds. And all I did was just little shape for the body, little shapes for the wings and the head. And maybe the beak, right? They're not very detailed. It's just a little kind of circle for the body, a little circle for the head, and a circle for the beak. Sometimes I'll draw the wings out too, right? That's all you gotta do. There's barely anything there. But when you see them all together in the sky and sitting on top of the buildings, you know they're birds, right? Even though they're kind of just little squibbly things. So that's what I added. Oh yeah, and I decided to do sunset colors. Because, we like to make the sky blue, but I always think, hey, why make the sky blue when you could do all these beautiful colors and make your picture more colorful, right? We all love colors. So I usually go for a sunset whenever I can. And that's kind of just my style. So that was fun. Really cool lesson. I think this is a good way to practice shapes and a good way to try different things with lines. Right, so when you're making other art, think about these new shapes and new lines that you learned. Think about how you can use that in your other art as well, okay? Now we are going to have an art hangout. It's been so fun doing art hangouts. This one's going to be on Thursday, okay? So what I would like you to do, if you want to join the art hangout, you don't have to. You can just do it if you want to. And real quick, let me just explain what it is in case some of you missed in the last couple. The art hangout is where we all join together on a Google meeting and we make art together. Okay, so you can make your art, you can share your art, we'll look at some cool videos and stuff. That's all it is, just hanging out and making art. So you're probably going to need an adult to help you with this part. But what you need to do is in the description to this YouTube video, there's a Google class code. Okay, you put that into Google Classroom. That code is for Google Classroom. Once you join that Google Classroom, that's where I post all the art hangout stuff. That's where you're going to see when it is and where and how to join and everything. So just join that Google Classroom and you'll see everything you need to know. All right? So I hope to see you there. I hope you all had fun. I love you all. You're all wonderful, wonderful, awesome artists. And I hope you're doing good. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.